Oh, no. Which one did we miss?
I don't know what you're missing, but this is my little spreadsheet that I showed you.
Mine,
17.
17.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you're wrong. I think you're missing somebody. I'm going to go back and check. Are you ready to roll?
I might be.
Should we tell everybody what we're doing today? You might notice we don't have a guest. We are each other's guests today.
Yeah, so
It's going to be so fun.
We're taking a suggestion from, I think it was one of our listeners who may or may not have been family.
One of our fans.
Most of our listeners are family and friends.
No, not true.
Not true?
We have 100 followers.
Okay, well, this suggestion was given to me by a listener who may or may not be a family member that said we should interview each other. So when we kicked off the podcast, we did like a little background on, you and me and our stories, but we didn't like interview each other. So guess what I did?
Prepared.
You don't even know what I did.
Guess what I did?
What?
Nothing.
Shocker.
Going in off the cuff. I'll come up with questions for you.
Okay, but I set people that you know,
Oh, no.
family and friends,
What do you mean?
and said, I'm interviewing Courtney on our podcast. If you could give me any question that you would like me to ask her.
Oh, no.
I did. And I won't tell her. I think we should just make this about you. We'll do another one.
No.
Look at all the questions I got.
Oh, my God. Shit's going to get real.
Look at them all.
Oh, okay.
This is unscripted.
Mine is, if you can see this on YouTube, a few notes to jog ideas, questions for Michelle.
I'm flipping the script.
Oh, boy.
We're doing it all. Look, she's sweating. She got an haircut. So anyways,
In my side, how do you call this? One-shouldered jumpsuit that I'm wearing today. It's quite lovely. I'm channeling the 70s vibe too.
with her hair.
I have Farrah Fawcett hair now.
Yeah, so I messaged, I don't know how many people. People in your organization, downline,
Okay.
upline,
Oh boy.
friends, family,
Okay.
and brought all the questions to my little phone here.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I guess I'm ready.
Okay, and I'm not even we're just gonna go for it.
Okay. All right.
Because I told everyone I would try to get through everybody's questions.
Okay.
Out of all of the questions, this is my favorite. So we're gonna start at this one. Okay.
Let me fix my curtain bang.
You ready? Unscripted. Folks.
Ready.
She obviously didn't even know that I was doing this.
Not ready. This will be very honest responses. Let's see how this goes.
Okay. We're gonna kick this one off with my favorite question. What's the hardest, tough love conversation you've had to have with an agent you support, and how did they respond?
So years ago, it's been quite a while, we brought on an agent from another brokerage, and that agent is a super strong one, high producing, just a bulldog, works super hard. And the brokerage they had come from had a very different type of culture, which appears to have been fairly toxic. A lot of micromanaging. So because of that, this particular person was really on the defense a lot and didn't have a lot of trust built out. So we had some turmoil and some conflict with that agent and another one in the brokerage. And this was also at a different office location than one that I was at every day. So it was a new experience for me managing a remote location. And then two, I didn't have a really strong relationship built yet with this agent because they had just come over to the brokerage. So I had to do what we call crucial conversation. Great book, by the way, if you haven't read it. And really be direct with this person and had them also meet with the person that they were in conflict with. So essentially I approached it as, I'm a mediator, and I approached it with a lot of love, and it just took a lot of time and multiple conversations along these lines to get that person comfortable and to no longer feel like they had to be on the defense all the time. And I think it went really well, that first initial one. And there's probably about 3 follow-ups from that.
I think I was there for that one.
Yeah, you have to be
No.
consistent. People don't hear things one time. I think the rule of thumb is 7 times, but I think it's more like 17 times. Like, you have to say things over and over and over, and you're so sick of hearing it. And then that's when they finally do hear it. And it's the same thing when you're building a culture. And that's essentially what we were doing, is welcoming this person in. And we didn't have conflict with those 2. I would say after a couple months, we kind of nipped it in the butt.
So as a follow-up question to that, is there anything you would have done differently in that scenario?
No, in that particular scenario, I think it was handled well. It was handled with love. It was handled with a lot of preparation. I have a form. I'm actually doing a training on it in a couple weeks for our organization on prepping for these kind of conversations. I know from this podcast, it might appear that I am a very off-the-cuff, go with the flow, not necessarily prepped with questions for Michelle. But when I have a conversation like that, I put a lot of prep into it and a lot of thought, and I come to it prepared. And I think that's why that went so well.
By the way, before I forget, by the time this airs, you will have had a birthday, which means you're going to be closer to my age, which is going to be how old are you going to be?
I'm going to be 43.
Baby.
Younger than Michelle.
Yes. By
so much.
So many years. So we got to say happy birthday is what I
thank you.
said that from the beginning.
You.
Okay, next question. Some might say great leaders are cup fillers. How do you be sure and keep your own cup full?
Keep my cup full, not just filling other people's cups, is what you're saying? That's hard. Sometimes when you're the leader, you're the lid. I've said this before, to your own growth and your own happiness. I think with the move that we made with merging with EXP about 7 months ago was my way of keeping my cup full, because I've been in real estate and lending for over 20 years now. And it's hard. I think any of you that are entrepreneurs or self-employed can relate to this. It's hard to find out what's next, what's the next challenge you want to have, the next way you're going to have your personal growth after 20 years of being in the same business. So for me, I'm keeping my cup full by eliminating some of the aspects of running a business that I really did not like, and focusing on the creative side is one thing. I love all the marketing side of our business, the social media, the conversations with other top talent. Those are the things that fill me up and get me excited and juiced up. And that's really what my focus has been in the last 6 months. So that's how I'm keeping my cup full after 2 decades in the biz.
But you also do a lot of pouring into your own growth, like with Ramsey events and just reading and, I know that about you in terms of just pouring your mind with fruitful information.
True. Well, so I've had some form of executive coaching since 2019. As soon as I realized, all right, I want to scale, I want to grow, I want to expand, I knew that I needed to get help outside of Mariposa, California. And you're right, that's definitely been a focus. Those of you that know me, I'm a very avid reader. I am never without a book. I have a fictional book and I have a workbook always. And that's something that's true. That definitely fills my cup, and it helps me pay it forward and fill others as well.
Which is funny because all these questions I got, I'm like, I know the answers to most of them.
You should. 10 years working together.
Yeah, I was like, nah, that's a dumb question. We're not asking that. And I actually made some of these people that I asked to think deeper. That's a lame question. What do you really want to know about Courtney? I mean, some of these people. Okay, so another
Not what books I'm reading, huh?
Yeah, or someone asked, why'd you get into the business? I'm like, we know everyone knows why you got in the business. If you don't know why Courtney got in the business, then you know what I'm saying?
Why do you think I got in the business?
Well, because you had babies.
lifestyle.
Yeah, your lifestyle.
You know, when you live in a town of 2,500, sometimes you have to create your own career path.
Yeah. I'm like, anyways. So off the cuff of you mentioned something in that last answer about moving EXP.
Mm-hmm.
So as a broker owner for many years, what was the hardest part about making the decision to trust another broker organization with your real estate business legacy?
Well, it was a really big decision. I mean, I'd been a broker since 2012, and Michelle was there for the bulk of that. I think you joined in 2015. I was on my leadership team, and we did a lot of things that were really great that we built from scratch, like our onboarding program. We had a whole marketing department and website, our mission, our core values. We had a really strong culture that we had built out. So part of the things that were weighty that I had to kind of get through and process with moving over to another brokerage were things like that. Like, oh my goodness, I did all this for what? Because now I'm going to go over to this brokerage that has it all figured out, and it feels a little bit like hitting the easy button, which also could be feeling like I failed because like going backwards, like why did I do all that if I'm just going to go over to a larger brokerage? However, and I've said this before, I think on one of our episodes, is I had to set my ego aside. And we all might not want to admit it, but many of us independent brokers have an ego. I'll be the first to say it. I mean, my company has my last name on it. So, I mean, that says something. And I had to set aside and go, all right, this is about more than what I've built. It's about where we're going. And I saw the market changing. This was before even this NAR settlement had come out. And I wanted to make sure that I was not looking in the rear view, that I'm looking forward. And I saw so much potential with the model that EXP has built out. And I do not think that you can beat it for scalability. And let me tell you, I looked into a ton of options, and it was just 100% the right move.
So basically the hardest part it was for you putting your ego aside and saying like, look, what are we going to do to take this company to the next level, regardless of my own ego? And that's essentially what you're saying.
Sums it up.
That's cold hard truth,
It is.
So that being said, what would be the hardest part about being a leader that nobody talks about? What is the hardest part about being a leader? Because you are not only a leader in your household and in our community, but now you're a leader of agents essentially nationwide as we are building the Now Nation organization.
Well, I don't know if this is something that people don't talk about. I know in my Vistage group, which is a CEO group that I'm a part of, we definitely talk about it. But it can be lonely being a leader when you're, at the top of your company or whatever that you're leading. There's often things that you don't want to discuss or you shouldn't discuss with your team. Not everyone has a leadership team or has that person that they can go to when you've got issues or when you're stressed or just in general. It can be lonely. I found again, back to the way the model is built out with EXP, where you have 7 levels of support that you can call upon, that definitely takes some of that loneliness out. And it's also, with 90,000 agents in this company, I've had a lot of exposure to some really great leaders in real estate. And so that's been taken that aspect away, which is definitely something that I have felt over the years.
Being lonely.
Yep.
Okay, so one of the things that I think is one of your greatest strengths is your visionary leadership. So you have these big visions of where you want to be and where you want your family to be and where you want me to be and my family and all the people that are in your circle. You're this huge visionary. Where would you say that comes from? I'm getting dirt. Are these questions good? Where does it come from? I mean, I feel like,
you're either innately a visionary, or if any of you have read Traction and EOS, integrator, right? We've talked about this. Michelle's the integrator who figures out the tactical ways to make things happen. I'm the visionary who comes up with 5,000 ideas, which we wheedle down to a few. So I have been a visionary since I was born. Like, I remember being a child and you'd say, Courtney, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I'm like, I want to be a teacher. And I also want to be the first woman president of the United States, with all sincerity. Like, I felt conviction in my heart that I could do that. I obviously grew up and realized that was not a good plan. Business is a much better option if you're listening.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it just started from a young age. My parents, my dad and my mom started a home improvement store when I was in elementary school. So I saw that entrepreneurial spirit and saw their vision. And I think I always knew from a young age that I wanted to have my own company, be an entrepreneur.
So what would you
and
say?
And president and teacher.
We still the presidential things to come.
Oh God. Oh yeah. No.
Yeah. No, I meant for you.
Oh, I thought you meant someone in my family mentioned that or something.
What would you say would be like the consequences of that entrepreneurial drive that you've always had, positive and negative?
Well, negative, I can tell you right off the cuff, would be what I call the shiny object syndrome, or squirrel, which my husband has that too. So we have two of us in the household that think of a lot of great ideas, and it's come through the coaching, which I desperately needed to make sure that I'm not following too many of them and that I have the right focus on the right thing for the right time. So that's been something that I really had to work on. Otherwise, I would literally be doing 5,000 things and I wouldn't be doing any of them all that well.
If you could have coffee with anybody, like dead or alive, if you could have 10 minutes only with coffee with someone, who would it be and why?
Probably Patrick Lencioni, because I adore him. Patrick, I love you. Please come on our podcast.
You know what's so funny is that was my question, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah. Oh, one of my questions, because I'm like, I don't actually know who she would say.
James Clear would be pretty cool too. Atomic Habits.
Well, what about Maxwell?
John Maxwell. And there's so many good ones.
Like when I saw Maxwell all those years ago, I was like, man, I just like that cup of coffee.
But a coffee with Patrick Lencioni, would be interesting, and you'd have some really good stories in there. I think it would be a fun time.
Yeah. All right. So someone did want me to ask you about how you have best utilized a 1031 exchange for yourself or a client.
Okay.
It's a little production question.
Yeah. So we did a 1031 exchange a number of years ago. We had a duplex that we purchased, I think in 2014. And we actually, just to go a tiny bit more into the story, got super creative with that one, where we had a client finance it, a previous client of mine finance it because it wasn't financeable. And we had 1 year to get it 2 units completely renovated where we could refinance, pay that client back, and we got into the Airbnb market. So by 2015, we were off and running with 2 Airbnbs, which was great because that was kind of new back then, and we're outside Yosemite, and obviously it did well. So fast forward, we bought that property for $80,000. I think we were in it maybe $150 or so. Sold it for $439,000. Did a 1031 exchange, which was super easy, by the way, and picked up the hotel, which we still have. Kind of similar situation. It was financeable, but most of the rooms, I think we had 4 rooms that were renovated to the previous owner's taste, and the rest of them we either had to get tenants out during COVID time frame. So if you're a landlord, that wasn't easy, and renovate the rooms. So we now have 11 fully functioning rooms that we rent out, and plus a long-term tenant in the building. And that was, again, I think it cost us like $800 to do the 1031. We had a discount since I was a realtor. And if anyone has questions on it, I can walk you through because it was super simple to do it.
Let's talk about tourist homes. That was another question that someone had asked. And we were talking about it earlier. Talk about the success that you've had over the past year. You mentioned a number that I think is pretty impressive on your growth.
Oh, 4 tourist homes?
Yeah.
Well, so obviously we knew when we bought it. For one thing, I had a fractional CFO that I work with, and I had him look at the unit before I bought it because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't, just me being shiny object. Was this a good use of our time? Was this a good investment? For me, I ran the comps and I could see I felt like we were getting it for a good price point. But I wanted to make sure that these units would convert, that, make sure I have the vacancy rate correct. So I put it through the ringer before we even made the offer, by which was through me reaching out to the owner on Facebook, FYI, because it wasn't on the market. And we were upside down on it for a little while because we're just dumping money into it to get these rooms renovated. So we have turned a corner. We are now just year to date up 25% on the top line and 63% on our net. So I'm definitely seeing a win on our investment, and we still have more yet to come because we're just now getting into peak season for this year. So it is pretty exciting.
What would you say your greatest win in business has been? Like in your 43 years of life, what would you say would be your greatest business win and personal win?
Well,
Are you sweating?
no, just fixing the hair. Gotta fix the hair. If you're watching or listening. Okay, let's see. So obviously we've got multiple companies. We've got the hotel. I've got the lending company. My husband runs the construction business, and then we've got Twist Realty Group. And for me, I think my baby, anyone would know this, is definitely the real estate business. It's where my passion is, and I think I'm proud of what we've built. We have a great brand here locally. I was able to convert Twist Realty from being associated with just Courtney Twist to Twist Realty Group now, being associated with anyone that's working in our brokerage. And I think that's can be kind of hard to do. And I did it really well over a fairly short period of time. And I think I'm going to say that that's a win because now it's allowed me to have that production team off and running, doing its thing, maintaining our market share on a local level because we still are number one, FYI. And now focus on what I like doing, which is being around other top agents and attracting top talent. And I can now do that on a national level with this platform. So that would be my win.
Okay, what about personal?
Oh, personal? Oh, man. Well, okay. So, some of you guys know our story as far as losing our house and being literally like probably $500,000 negative net worth like a decade ago. And we've turned that around to following a debt-free lifestyle and built our dream home, have our acreage. So that is a very big personal win for our whole family because our whole family was invested in that week. We had our picture of our farmhouse in our mirrors for like 5 years, and we worked on it for 7 years, but we had the drawings done, and we literally had it in our mirrors. And it was not just my husband, my husband and I, it was our kids. Like our whole family was fully focused on that.
And your mobile home.
Living in a mobile home on our fenced yard while we save money. Like, you want to talk about sacrifice and beans and rice diet for 7 years. We did it as a family. And because of that, our children understand a few different things. One, they understand how to handle their money. They understand how to have a budget. They also understand what sacrifice means and are super hard working, well-rounded girls. And I can say that without feeling guilty about it because
It's true.
we have some damn good kids.
Yeah.
And that is our number one biggest accomplishment is I feel very confident that they're going to go out there in the world and not only survive, but like kick some major ass.
Yeah.
And our oldest is getting ready to go off to college at Cal Poly. And I feel very confident that she's got the life skills that she needs to have a wonderful life ahead of her. So it's our number one.
Listen, we got like about 7 minutes before we're going to hit that 30-minute mark.
Okay.
So there's lots of questions. We're going to rapid spitfire on these.
Okay. All right.
Are you
ready?
Good with that?
Yep.
Okay. Greatest piece of advice and from whom? Oh, that's another one of my questions.
I'm not prepared. I've had so much good advice from so many people.
Greatest piece of advice, and from whom?
I don't know. I mean, even this is a simple one from my husband, Jared would say, put your head down, get to work. And sometimes that's what you got to do. And that's what we're doing right now. It's pedal to the metal, get your head down, just work.
Biggest regret and what would you do if you had to do it over again?
I don't have regret.
Biggest fear, greatest fear.
Greatest fear? Well, I have to work on not being afraid of failing. That's something that I'm a hyper achiever. So I don't like failing. Very, very, very competitive. So that's something that I guess would be a fear of failure, which with my 5,000 ideas doesn't even make sense because so many of those fail. But I guess on the big stuff.
How have you managed to keep your composure while managing multiple businesses and family life? Or at least that's this person's perception.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm doing too much. I feel like right where I need to be. So I don't know. I guess I have composure because I enjoy what I do and I've surrounded myself with the right people to help execute the vision. So it keeps me fairly calm. I mean, I think my husband will see me not calm because well, you got to have somebody you can come home to and vent or be real with. So that he's my guy for obvious reasons.
I have to say, I have always felt like a common thread around people that I have met that are people of faith is that they all share similar levels of composure. Does that make any sense?
Well, because I guess even though I said it could be lonely being at the top, you're not ultimately alone if you're, if you're a woman or man of faith.
Yeah. I mean, like you were raised in the Catholic Church, and all the people that I know, whether Catholic, Christian, or whatever, that have like had that exposure or a relationship, I feel like are all universally people that are relatively composed. So just a side note on that. Best business book of all time and best pleasure book of all time.
Best business book. I mean, Jim Collins, his books are classics and so good. They're really hard to beat.
Good to Great.
Yeah, Good to Great's definitely one of my favorites. I like, Atomic Habits. I've, of course, obviously read all of Patrick Lencioni's books. There's just so many good ones. Culture Code, that one was really good as well.
Best.
I know, sorry. I have so many books I like. It's going to be hard on a personal level, too.
Yeah.
Gosh, a classic that I absolutely loved was Gone with the Wind. Read it when I was a kid. Sixth grade, I remember reading that Gone with the Wind, and it still resonates.
Okay, what about best movie?
Oh, gosh, I have no idea. I'm horrible about that. I like to watch movies, but if you ask me pop culture questions, I am probably not going to get any of them right. I don't know. Gosh,
best movie of all time. That if you had to cozy up and snowing outside. The backdrop. It's snowing outside. Yeah. Courtney's gonna get some popcorn, hang out. What movie would you pull to watch?
White Christmas.
Hey, go.
But I actually watch every single Christmas movie that's out there. The kids and I start as soon as we possibly can. I love Christmas movies. Silly. In general.
There you go. White Christmas. All right, here's the final question. Super important.
Oh, no.
Super important.
Silly. Okay. I'm ready.
How do you like your martini?
How
do you order your martini?
Oh, so funny.
Guess who asked that question? I told everybody I wouldn't say who asked what.
Jessica or my sister or you.
No.
Who's drinking martinis with me?
Miller.
Oh, really? Okay. So I actually have two martinis that I like. One is espresso martini, which I have to be thoughtful with because of the caffeine. That's if I actually need to stay up past, say, 8 or 9 o'clock when I normally go to bed. And a dirty martini. And I've gotten to the point where I like it fairly dirty. So what I do is I actually order the dirty on the side, and then I can just pour in just the amount that I want. Unless I'm at a really nice bar where they do a really good job and I don't have to do that, but most don't.
She's come a long way, folks, because
Yes.
you didn't used to do any of that.
It took me a while to acquire that taste,
Yeah.
but I am there.
Yes.
Jessica and Debbie, thank you to
42.
you.
Okay, look, that was 30 minutes. What do you think about that?
Good job. You're a good interviewer.
My
Great. Now when I do yours, man, I guess I am going to have to prep.
No, we don't have to. We could skip me. I don't want to. You're gonna have to come up with some good questions.
I know.
Actually, you could just do boilerplate, like,
I'll ask my bestie, ChatGPT.
Who's that? Dork. All right. Well, that's a wrap. You heard it. Some off the cuff, non-scripted questions with C twists. Happy birthday!
Thank
Here's
you.
to a great 43rd year.
Yeah.
Going into your.
Which really you guys should all come and see me in person because we're going to be at an event in Fresno, California.
Yeah.
Got to plug it, June 28th and 29th. And we are bringing out some amazing, amazing speakers through all these connections that we've made through this podcast, through being in the business for 20 years, through EXP. So if you want more of this and then some in person,
Yeah.
just think of it like a really big birthday party.
What?
And you're all invited.
Hey, I didn't even realize we're like both Geminis. Like, how did I know that? And like,
That's why we get in so much trouble.
I know, but I think I don't know if I actually really connected the dots on that. I think I was thinking because it's like, I don't know. But
Yeah.
did you realize?
Actually, the event will be closer to your birthday, so it's actually your birthday party.
It's just a big party. We're just going to have a good time.
When you're getting that much closer to 50, you got to go big.
Well, 50, we're going to Greece for my birthday. That's
True.
what's going on.
True.
So that's 3 years from now. So, all right, that's a wrap. All things twist. Follow her.
General.
Ask the General. We'll see you next week.
Bye.